Oh my goodness. Thank you, Ellie, for starting us off so beautifully. Okay, don't go far. We're going to make you come back and we'll give you a proper introduction. For 30 seconds about Sviva. Sviva is about revolutionizing the way that women come together in community and using Jewish community to empower women as individual change makers in their own lives and in the world, discovering and exploring the unique and beautiful Torah that comes from our lived experience. We define both Jewish and women very broadly. If you want to be with us, we want you with us and welcome. We love that we are multi-generational and diverse in our backgrounds and our affiliations. That will be very important tonight. When we come together in celebration and support of women, our strength, our unique perspectives, and our ways of impacting the world. A giant thank you to Rabbanit Dr. Liz Shane, Emily Bell, Willow Rothenberg for all of your help tonight. Thank you also to the Covenant Foundation and the Aviv Foundation, who continue to encourage us to find ways to bring us together meaningfully and impactfully. And I'm just going to say, I would never have had the guts to walk into a room where this topic was like the flyer on the wall outside of the door. I really, really appreciate the ability to come into this conversation fully with all of my worries and anxieties about the different people in my life that I find myself navigating, sometimes biting off my tongue, sometimes wanting to scream at, sometimes wanting to cry at, and also being really vulnerable enough to admit that there are ways where I can improve how I'm showing up in my conversations too. So my tremendous thanks to Rabbanit Dahlia Davis and Rabbanit Eliza Sperling, who put together so much thought and care into thinking about holistically how we can pull our chairs a little closer to each other this year. I don't know, I see some familiar faces who were with us last week when we had our Pesach Her Torah, and that is on our YouTube channel, and we'll put a link up for it so that you can take a look at it too. But Rabbanit Dahlia, you started your work with Sviva on October 1st. Talk about a tough orientation week. I cannot imagine how we have navigated these past 6 months without your beautiful and wise pastoral presence. Thank you for the ways that you continue to bring us together. Thank you for crafting tonight. And I give it over to you.
Thank you so much, Ariella, for your beautiful leadership. And thank you, everybody, for coming, because without all of us together, we can't have this super important conversation. So to start us off, I want to share a story with you. This past Sunday, I was looking for a parking spot in the JCC parking lot, and I noticed a car with a bumper sticker that was deeply offensive to me. I felt a rush of emotions. I was hurt, I was angry, I was shocked, I felt misunderstood. And so without really thinking, I did what I'm sure any of us would have done. And I parked my car right next to that car so that the driver of that car could see my bumper sticker with the opposite opinion. I entered the building feeling proud of how I had stood up for what I believed in. And then it dawned on me. What would I have done if I had actually met the driver of that car and not seen an empty parked car? Would I have approached the driver and articulately expressed my opinion and my feelings about their bumper sticker? I most likely would have avoided a confrontation, and if the driver had spoke to me, I would have followed the advice of Rabbi Akiva from Pirkei Avot, from Ethics of Our Fathers, Siag lechachma shtika. A way to guard wisdom is through silence. The thing is, I don't know if that is the type of silence that Rabbi Akiva had envisioned when he made that statement. The kind of silence that I've been accustomed to, with the fake smile, the nod, and sometimes the gritted teeth, while I would try to escape from a conversation as quickly as possible. That's the form of silence that I think many of us may have been experiencing or might be familiar with over the course of the past few weeks, and the type of silence that we hope to avoid in the future. That form of silence can feel repressive, and it does not chart a path towards wisdom. That form of silence is also not a path towards intimacy, and it does not lead us to truly understanding each other, to connecting despite our difference, and to being our authentic selves. So as we gather together tonight, we may each be wondering how we can find the words to engage in these most difficult conversations around these really difficult topics. And we have the opportunity to learn how to do this and how to engage and how to converse. And we get to do this and learn from a true leader in the field, from Dr. Michelle Friedman, who is both a type psychiatrist as well as an expert in pastoral counseling. Dr. Michelle trains rabbis and guides them through incredibly complicated conversations and negotiations. And I have personally learned so much from her throughout the time that I have been blessed to know her. And I am so excited for her to share her wisdom with all of us tonight. Her full bio is going to be in the chat. And Dr. Michelle, I welcome you.
I'm so honored to be with this group tonight. And you've given me such a fabulous introduction, not just specific words that you said about me, but the struggle that you shared, Dahlia, about the parking lot. Because Seder is a time when we get together, Seders, some people might be having one, some people might be having two, people might be having them on different days than are customarily done because of different people's schedules. All kinds of things are happening. But Seder is an intimate time of gathering with the people most close to us and maybe some outsiders as well. And I think we're gathering tonight on this topic because we're mindful that this is likely to be a year where the intersection of the incredibly profound, provocative, rich text of the Haggadah, whichever Haggadah book that guides us through the Seder experience you use, and world events, specifically the war in Israel, between Israel and Gaza. I also want to make mention that there may be other events going on that will add color, turbulence, divisiveness to people's Seders. Those could include people's feelings about the upcoming presidential election, maybe half a year away, but it's coming up. And maybe include people's feelings about different political issues in the United States, about climate. I just came from a climate meeting myself, from all kinds of things. But I'm particularly spotlighting what's going on with Israel, between Israel and Gaza right now, and what's been happening over the past 6 months, and since October 7th. So what I'm going to do, we're going to do two things tonight. I'm now going to speak for like 15, 20 minutes-ish. And then we're going to transition to something that I think will be very lively, kind of fun, and will hopefully give vividness to the principles that I'm talking about, which is that we're going to have role plays. A couple of people have been conscripted into service, and we're going to do 2 role plays that hopefully give, like I said, give vividness to the principles that I'm now going to talk about. So I'm going to divide up my remarks kind of into 2 chronologic sections. One is before the Seder, not very complicated, and the second is going to be the Seder night itself. So before the Seder, this is planning. And this is really my big takeaway, is that just as you're maybe cleaning your house for the Seder, thinking about your menu, wondering where guests are going to sleep, figuring out what dessert you're going to make this year, who's going to lead the Seder, which Haggadah you're going to use, planning for controversy is really important. Now, if you don't anticipate controversy at your Seder, you're okay, but then you probably would be at this Friedman meeting tonight because you're thinking about, what might be coming up. So I'm going to divide my pre-planning, pre-Seder planning into two areas. One is going to be introspection, and the second is going to be how to make an advance plan. So in terms of introspection, sorry, let's just think for a moment personally, who is at our Seders? And usually I think most of us have, a relatively stable or predictable core group of people. Our immediate families, relatives, maybe diverse in-laws, depending on for people who are currently married, switching between different houses, different siblings that might come, different children, different sets of grandchildren, older people, younger people. We may all have friends who traditionally come to our Seder, and we might have people that we don't know very well, but that we're being hospitable to. So I think that there's, we want to just kind of do a little bit of an internal census, a little bit of awareness, like who are the known people? What tends to be their political strong opinions? Where do they kind of hang in the, let's just call it left-right continuum? And I'm going to talk now pretty specifically. I'm going to focus this, on what's going on now, with Israel and Gaza. And I really want to make it, I think, very clear, at least certainly in my experience, and there's been a lot of conversation going on about this, that it's not necessarily pegged by age. One radio talk that show that I was on, was going on all about like kids getting all woke at colleges and coming back with, terribly divisive opinions. That may be true, but it may also be, that your communist great uncle has really strong opinions about what's going on and is going to be stirring a lot of controversy. So I really want to be, like make space for all kinds of opinions from all kinds of people. But who is at our Seder and what history do they bring to the Seder? Not just in terms of political opinions, but we all have, no family is without its complexity and its texture. And we all know, what are the kind of under the surface, long-standing, maybe manageable, maybe sometimes not so manageable tensions, rifts, alienations, struggles that go on in every family. And Seder is a time, particularly with the combustion of diverse political opinion, where things can really get heated up. We're seated at a table or in a living room, however people conduct their Seder, for quite a long time. No matter how you run your Seder, some people they do the first part, then they have the meal, and that's kind of the end. Some people do the second part of the Seder. Whatever it is, it tends to be a relatively long night. Now, obviously, there are many people here with small children who may be doing an abbreviated Seder, or children may be dominating the Seder. But, I want to make room for all of this. But I want to just while we're doing the introspection, we want to just do kind of an internal, who's going to be there? I'm sure most of us in this room have a sense of where we're going to be this year, who's going to be in the room. Now, if you're the host of the Seder, you definitely have more power. If it's your home, you're convening power. You're the hostess. People are at your table. You can sort of determine things more. However, if you're going to somebody else's home and you're in this meeting, you can certainly bring, and you're anticipating complexity, controversy, dissent, a mixed opinion, whatever we want to call it. I hope that you can bring these issues to the table, literally to the table. But before we get to how you're going to do that, I want to go back to introspection. And I want us to think about three things. One is what I'm going to call, I actually got this labeling from the Harvard Difficult Conversations book, which I find really quite useful. It's sort of written for business, but it's terrific for families, for all kinds of groups. So I'm going to talk about three conversations: the what will happen conversation, the feelings conversation, and the identity conversation. And let me explain, what I'm talking about. So the first one is like the what I call the what will happen conversation. What are you worried about? Will get out of hand, will get very heated, will be problematic at your Seder table. Is it going to be like, what are the topics? Is it really just very strong controversy? Let's just call it right wing, left wing, about like the parking lot, the bumper stickers about what's going on in Israel and Gaza now. Political discrepancies, as I mentioned before, among guests. What are the issues that you think might roil up? And together with that, the what will happen conversation, I think it's really important that we think about what do we and other people at the table hope for? Are people looking to change other people's minds, by engaging in heated conversation? Are we looking to love each other and listen to a diversity of opinions? Clearly I'm hoping that that is going to be the goal that people have. I mean, who has ever changed somebody else's mind in a heated discussion or fight? Nobody. Like in my work in political stuff, which as I mentioned before, is mostly around climate and Jewish activities. I mean, those can be overlapping or separate activities. You really don't get people to change their minds. You get unregistered people to vote. You get people to go to demonstrations. You get people to think about an issue that maybe they haven't thought about before. But trying to change people's minds isn't generally a enormously productive effort, and it doesn't generally happen with raised voices. So the basic goal of keeping a Seder civil, and I think loving and being able to listen to a potential diversity of opinions, is what I am pushing for as a goal in the what will happen conversation. Now I want to go a little deeper and talk about what feelings does the conversation about what's bothering you, what are you worried is going to happen, touch off? Does it make you, as a committed Jew, as a woman at our gathering tonight, as a member of a family, as somebody who's been in a friendship for many years, and maybe you feel like a friend, opinions have betrayed you, which is something I've certainly heard from a lot of people. What feelings does the what will happen conversation touch off? Do you feel angry? Do you feel sad? Do you feel like, wow, this alienation from this cousin who I played with, who I grew up with, who I really like, who I've looked towards as a role model, whatever it is, I can't believe what they're saying, and I feel a loss. I feel betrayed. I feel hurt, all kinds of things. I feel surprisingly optimistic. I feel buoyed by somebody's who I didn't expect so and so to come out with that. And the third part, the identity conversation. What pieces of your core identity are invoked and possibly disturbed by what's happening in the Seder conversation? So, I've spoken to a number of parents who are, and we've all read many articles about people who's, okay, here this is now going into the trope about, that this tends to be generational, where a younger generation is much more critical of Israel, anti-Israel, whatever it's going to be. And these parents might feel that I failed. I failed to educate my children about the importance of Israel, about the importance of staying loyal to Jews as first and foremost. That's your family. I failed to convey that anti-Semitism is real, that how to discern truth from propaganda when people are hearing their kids or their parents or their whomever espousing, really ignorant or uneducated, or like we've all heard this a million times, from the river to the sea. Do people actually know what's the name of the river? What's the name of the sea? Like that kind of stuff. Like I failed to make my priorities my kids' priorities. And many people may say, I really respect my children are grown up. They have their own opinions. I chose my way. They're choosing their way. But when we find, and somebody said, like, well, unless they vote for so and so. Well, I mean, what's our red line? Where do we feel that we have failed, basically, to convey basic priorities and values? Now, it might be like you might hear extraordinarily callous or seemingly callous, or what might come across as inhumane, what points of view. And people might feel, well, how I failed to inculcate my, let's say, children, I'll just use the same, generational thing, with a sense of social justice, with a deep sense of caring, with a sense of concern for universal suffering. How did people get so sort of narrow, so focused on themselves, so hawkish, or whatever it is? I mean, it can go all kinds of ways. And other people might say, like, how can people hold, like, how can you be a climate activist and also be a Zionist? Aren't those incompatible? Like, whatever. I'm just using that, as a since I'm a climate activist as well as a Zionist, that people might get those kinds of challenges. So introspection, thinking about who's going to be at your table, what are the contentious, potentially angry, potentially out of control, potentially hurtful discussions that might ensue? What are the feelings that will come up, and what pieces of identity do all of those touch on? I think is really important pre-Seder planning. And then with that, I want to encourage you all to make a plan. To make a plan in advance, just like you're cleaning your house, planning your meal, thinking about the seating arrangements, where are the sleeping arrangements, what's the time, what are we going to do with the little kids? Are we going to take out the plastic frogs this year, to decorate the table, whatever it happens to be? Like, make a plan to hold controversy, to keep your Seder, like I said, a loving and listening experience. And however it works for your family, for your group, could be that your Seder as a whole is a friend group. There are people who are doing that for sure. So what I suggest doing, and we're going to be role playing this in just a few minutes, is whatever the size of your Seder is, I think it can be quite helpful that you caucus in advance with a few key individuals. And those individuals might be, for example, if you're not the host, but you want to, you've been asked to be involved, or you think it would be helpful to be involved. I mean, obviously, you need to have a perch if you're not the host from which you are doing this. You're not just going to invite yourself in. But I think many people would be extremely appreciative of some pre-planning Seder in this extremely difficult year. So you would caucus with a few key individuals, just like you would. LBJ, Lyndon Baines Johnson, would never go into the Senate not knowing how people were going to vote. You do not go into your Seder not having some key people in place who are going to share principles of how the Seder is going to run. Now, how would that be? So you might discuss, like, well, I know Aunt so-and-so, and she tends to say this, and cousin so-and-so that, and friend so-and-so. Like, what's going to be the plan for this Seder? That might include people, okay, for example, sending out a reading in advance. So like at another discussion like this, people were talking about very different kinds of Seders. Like, I'm sorry, very different kinds of Haggadahs, the booklets that people use to run the Seder. So, there is a traditional one, but there are dozens, hundreds probably at this point, of Haggadahs, Haggadot, the plural, that are written, from a theme. So I'm just going to use one example. There are so many of them. You could, like, the 10 plagues. Now, some of these Haggadot have different plagues, which are very politicized. Now, you could, if you feel that there are going to be people at your Seder who are going to be subscribing to the politics of some of these highly controversial Haggadot, you might send out their list of 10 plagues in advance. And what I'm suggesting is, by sending that out, and then you're going to create discussion time for that, you are owning that. You are showing that you understand that people have diverse opinions. You're going to make designated time for that. And it helps contain. Contain is kind of the operative word here. Now, it doesn't have to be the 10 plagues. You might have readings about the 4 children. Usually it's called the 4 sons. Some Haggadahs have 4 daughters. That could be, there could be readings about that you send out in advance, and you're going to have a discussion time. There's an infinite number of opportunities. I mean, the Passover Haggadah is an incredibly rich and powerful literary document that can go in endless directions. Another thing you might do, and this you would do with your planning group, is send out a schedule for the Seder. Meaning like that, how much time you anticipate for doing more traditional portions of it. And then you might have a 15 or 20-minute discussion time that you might put at a key point in the Seder, like we were slaves in Egypt. Now, that could be a very powerful time to pause and have discussion time. And you might establish, I suggest, if you anticipate challenge at the Seder, controversy, high level of opinions, that you establish guidelines at the beginning of the Seder. So one might be a object. You might order, I got this from Amazon, a 2 or 3 minute timer, a sand timer, not just because it doesn't involve electricity for those people who don't use electricity, but because for all of us oldsters, it invokes the Wizard of Oz, and it's so physical. You see the sand draining out. This is a 3-minute one. I mean, it looks bigger, it's a big one, but you could get a 2-minute one. And that's plenty of time. 2 minutes is plenty of time to express an opinion. And you might say, there's a lot of people here. We have a lot of interesting, smart people. We want to give everybody time. We're going to use this tonight. Now, that might seem crazy to you. In another talk that I just did, this woman, she said a group of her friends gathers regularly, and they use, this sounds sort of like the conch shell for those of you who remember Lord of the Flies, but they use a pepper mill, and whoever is holding the pepper mill gets to talk. But that you're supposed to put down the pepper mill at a certain point or pass it on. Whatever gimmick, object, something. I think that objects actually help concretize, but you definitely want an established amount of time in advance where you're going to talk about, a controversial topic. And if somebody brings in at another time, you might say, look, there's a lot of feeling here, but we're going to do it at such and such a time. We'll have some more time at the end. How about we give 10 minutes after, after the meal, before we do the next piece or something like that. Something else that I suggest, and this is going to be also important in the role play for my actors out there, our actors, everybody should speak. You can give this as an injunction at the beginning, just like with time frame. Speak from the first person. Say, I think, I feel, it was my experience that. Nobody is allowed to pontificate or to speak from a point of like omniscient truth. We are all individuals and we have points of view. We've read information, but it's coming from us. People need to own their own perspective. I also think that you want to think about in advance. And again, here's where I advise using your small group, your caucus group, of how you're going to handle situations that get out of control. Are you going to say, listen, Uncle Tommy, we really want this to be a loving, listening Seder. Maybe we need to just take a break now. If you're going to somebody else's house and you don't feel like you can't tell people what to do, you're the guest, not the host. You can say, this is getting uncomfortable for me. I'm going to step out for 5 minutes and hopefully things will calm down and I'll come back when we do. So, okay, so the second piece, and now I'm going to stop at this because we're going to go right into our role plays, is the Seder night. And that's actually pretty short because the idea is keeping to the plan and what to do if things fall apart, if things do get out of control, which maybe they will in our role play. So with that prep in mind, I'm sure people have thoughts about this and feelings, and maybe we can express that in the chat pretty soon. But I think, given our schedule, I think it's time to go right into the first role play where we have 4 characters, Beth and James. I'm not sure who are our actors. Beth is the mom, okay? James is her husband. It's her second husband. And we have Claire, who is Beth's daughter from her first marriage. And she's married to Tom, who's a social justice activist. And then there's Brian, who is a college student. And he is the son of Beth and James, and he is gay, and his boyfriend is going to be coming to the Seder, Jason. But we're going to have these 4 people, and I asked the 4 people who are playing the roles to please change your name tags to your character. And I just want to remind the audience that this is just a make-believe role play. This is not your Seder. This is one example of what might happen. And I want to give our group, let's say we're going to do 5 minutes or so of you're the caucus group for a larger Seder, where we're going to be having that afterwards, where 4 more people are going to join. And you're anticipating, you can anticipate what might be going on, in the larger Seder, because 4 more people are going to be joining. And those people are going to be Tom, who is Claire's husband, Jason, who is Brian's boyfriend, Sylvie, who is Claire's friend, and Aunt Judith, who's an older aunt, Beth's sister. So those people are going to be coming to the Seder, and there could be more people. We're just going to have 8 people in that role, but let's go to our 4, Beth, James, Claire, and Brian, and take it away. Plan your Seder.
I don't know if you've heard, a lot of people are saying we shouldn't have a Seder this year. While there are hostages, we should just be sitting and feeling sad. And I don't know, and I think some of the others who are coming are going to feel like that. And it's going to be really hard.
Sorry, dear, but the Seder is very important to me, and I just want to try to have it the same way we've done it in the past.
But what about the hostages?
We'll have them in mind.
What do you think?
I mean, we always have a Seder. Why wouldn't we have a Seder? Isn't that part of being the Jew? Like, we're in the Jewish people. We have to have a Seder. What are you talking about? Why would we cancel it?
It might mean more by not having it. Isn't it meant to be about meaning?
I mean, it's about who we are. It's about where we come from. It's about who we are as the Jewish people. If we didn't have it, what makes us Jewish?
Let's all take a deep breath and let's try to be respectful when we speak. Okay, Brian?
Okay.
All right, well, if we're going to have a Seder, we have to work out how to put the hostages in. It's got to be about the hostages. What are we going to do?
Claire, come on. But sure. But isn't the whole idea, I mean, it does say, but it can't only be about the hostages. And in every generation, do you know what's going on out there? In every generation, we all have to see each other as having left Egypt. So great, we can do that, but we can't make the entire Seder only about the hostages.
Yeah, but I'm so sad.
Mm.
The amazing thing about emotions is that we can feel 2 opposing emotions at the same time. So let's keep the sadness, but we also have to remember that it is a joyful occasion also. What do you have in mind? What can we do that would help you to realize that we're keeping the hostages in the forefront of our mind?
I don't know. Maybe everyone should have a yellow ribbon.
What do you think, Brian?
Yeah, sounds great. Are can you bring them?
Yeah, I just have to get some yellow ribbon from a shop.
Well, that
and
would
then
be
tie
lovely.
them up.
If you could bring them, we'd all be happy to wear them. I think. We'll check with everyone who's coming.
Thank you. Gee, I didn't expect you'd find a way of doing that.
I'm so glad that it helped you to feel included.
Beth, what about you? You're the one who usually wants to be in charge.
Well, yes, she likes to be in charge, but she's also a team player.
Do you think Jason will agree? Because I reckon that's the other problem is, we've worked it out here and Jason doesn't like me. And so I said it, so he's going to be horrible.
Claire, come on, that's not true. He doesn't not like you. And he's coming, he's my boyfriend, and he's coming to the Seder because he loves me. And so he's gonna be part of our family. So, I mean, let's think, how can I do it? How can I make sure he already knows? He's not the only one coming to the Seder who's not in the family.
Yeah, but he's the only one who doesn't like me.
Maybe we should hear what Claire has to say. We don't want anybody to feel uncomfortable at our Seder. I don't want any, as a mother, I think it's really important. I just want everybody to feel comfortable. So Claire, honey, why don't you say a little more about why you're uncomfortable?
Well, first of all, I mean, you know what I think. I mean, I don't think that it's okay to be gay. And I can say it here, but I don't think it's okay. He's not my brother. He's not my brother's boyfriend. And he doesn't like me either. And if I've suggested something, he's likely to undermine it. If he knows that I said we should wear a yellow ribbon, he's going to come in and disrupt it.
It's not really safe for you to be saying that here either. I am your brother.
And I love you very much.
Well, then you have to love everything about me. And if you don't think, if you can't accept it, then maybe I just won't come.
Oh, kids, can we just get along for one night? Come on, we're all family. Why can't we just let's put this aside. We all just want to be able to enjoy each other for one night, have a nice family evening at our Seder.
I want to come. I want to be there, but
you
not
do
if
for
I'm being
me?
denied. Sorry, Mom.
Well, can you make sure, how are you going to make sure that James is okay? Jason is like respectful of me?
Well, I mean, I can't change who I am and he can't change who he is. That's part of who we are. So we can have a Seder and we can include the hostages in the Seder, and we should have a Seder because it's really important for us as a people, but I can't not be gay.
Yeah, and I cannot be straight.
So I want to
Claire,
start
don't.
Okay, I think this was really remarkable. And I want to now we can do this with such a big group. There were some really amazing things that happened. I want to ask our role player, our actors, first of all, thank you. You certainly brought liveliness to this role play. What happened this was supposed to, remember, this is our planning group. How much planning did we actually do for the Seder? What happened was you guys got really caught up in a lot of stuff that was nothing seemingly to do with the Seder, but was clearly pre-existing. What thoughts did you guys have? I just want to spend like anything, just, our wonderful actors. What happened here? Anybody? What did you feel?
Well, it was one of those like moments of like, wait a minute, we came to talk about this one thing and it just felt really derailed. And like, there was some sort of, everybody really had this deep need to be seen, and heard and acknowledged. And it had actually like nothing to do with the Seder at all. I actually don't even think the Seder felt all that controversial, to be perfectly honest.
Right. There was only one point that Claire made very strongly. What was that? Before we got into the family dynamics, which was about the hostages.
Yeah, that maybe we should
you really carried that very strongly. And it was really so striking because I think it was James, I don't remember your real name, but you did a great job of leading with like, I hear how you feel. What can we do? Well, that was extremely powerful. I think we, so much just happened after that. But when you said, what would help you? And then you came up with the idea. Did you come up with the idea of the yellow ribbon? And then we got the procuring of the yellow ribbon. We were doing so well here. Then we even were going to check, would everybody want to wear a yellow ribbon? We were doing so well. And then boom, it fell apart over nothing having to do with the Seder, right? Having to do with family dynamics and this whole gay, not gay. I don't like it. It's not okay to be. I'm looking at stuff. I don't like. It's not okay to be gay. He doesn't like me either. And then, the ultimate. This is supposed to be a planning session. The ultimate, kind of, I don't know, like a threat. I won't come. Maybe I won't come. Which is really something that I think we might want to anticipate. Like, is that the fifth child? Of the four children, the one who doesn't show. And we don't want that. We want people to be in the room. So how about we now add, as if that weren't lively enough, we add 4 more people, and that's going to be, so, okay, now Beth and James, you are conducting this Seder, okay? This is your home. So you can start the Seder. Why don't you start, or you can pick any point in the Seder. Pick a point that really speaks to you. It could be the plagues, it could be the 4 sons, it could be in every generation. I mean, just pick any place. And now we're adding, as we see Brian, who is Jason, who is Brian's boyfriend, Tom, who's Claire's husband, Sylvie, who's a friend, not a blood relative, and Aunt Judith, who is Beth's sister. You don't really have to remember all those people. I think the main thing, who's who from before. And Beth and James, you are the hosts, okay? So I want the other 4 people to enter the Zoom room, and to Beth and James, you start your Seder any place you want. Enter your Seder, I should say, any place you want. And let's see what happens.
I just want to stop for a moment, and I just want to say that I'm really glad that everyone's here with us tonight.
Oh, thank you for saying that, James. And yes, thank you everyone for coming. We're so glad to have you in our home. James, do you want to start with the first step of the Seder? Why don't you lead us off?
Sure. Does everyone have a cup of wine poured?
Or just let us know if anybody needs grape juice. We're happy to give out grape juice too. Just let us know what you need.
I gotta have grape juice, please.
Of course, of course. Here you go.
Thanks.
Does everyone have the page? Does everyone know how to read Hebrew?
I can never follow this thing. I'll be fine.
We can do it all in English anyway, can't we?
How about if we do both?
I like that idea, James. What a great idea.
Kind of going to be a long Seder, but sure.
I was just thinking that.
But we only have it once a year, so I think we should go for it, We got
Nice.
all, or 2 nights, right? Yeah. But I mean, we only have Passover once a year, so. And I know I'm an outsider because I'm not in your family, but I feel like I can say my piece if you don't
Oh,
mind.
you're part of the family, Sylvie.
Oh, thanks. Well, I think we should go for it.
Cool. Who would like to read first?
Brian, honey, why don't you read first?
No, I'm gonna pass. Sorry. I'm glad I'm here, but come back to me.
Oh, come on, we can all sing.
Something's
can't
going
we?
on with her.
Come
Yeah.
on, let's start with Kadesh Urchatz, right? We can all sing that. Yeah?
Yeah, I even got hand motions.
Oh, good. Let's have hand motions. Come on, she show us Kadesh Urchatz.
You guys gotta
Rachatz.
sing. I'll do the hand motions. You guys sing.
What? Sing.
Kadesh Urchatz Karpasya
Yachatz.
Magid
Magid Matzah.
Motzi
Matzah.
Maror
Ro Korech.
Shulchan
Shulchan Orech.
Safon Barech Hallel Nirtzah.
What a nice way to start. Is it always like this? Like literally always?
Oh, wait a second. We need to do the English. Come on and celebrate.
Honey,
The
Claire, honey, I
Savior
think,
is
I think,
here
I think
to
maybe we'll just, let's move it right along, actually. Why don't we all have our wine and our grape juice? Why don't,
Thank
James, why don't you lead us in Kiddush, huh? Let's
And
get
Jason,
started here.
I heard you mumbling, honey. You could speak loudly and share with everyone what you're feeling. It's okay.
No, it's totally fine. It's just I'm always super interested when things are like different than we do it at home. Just it's great. It's great.
How do you do it at home? Do you sing it differently or?
Oh, we mostly just get started. But no, this is awesome. Keep going.
Okay.
Claire, honey, Jason has such a better attitude than your brother does. It's amazing. Look at that look on his face.
Yeah. Although, what's this business about what they do at home?
All right, James, honey, why don't you just come on, honey, let's make Kiddush and just move on to the next step, all right?
Okay.
Everybody, just get along for one
Everybody
night. This is
stand
amazing.
up. Why are you all sitting? I think we should all be standing.
Oh, we always, oh.
Jason sits in his family's house, so I'm gonna sit.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm.
No, I think that
Let's
we
keep-
should do it the proper way.
Really.
What does that mean, the proper way?
The way we've always done it is proper. If other households do that, that's their business.
Okay, Claire, there's really no need. There's no need to be stubborn about this. Everybody can choose whether or not they want to stand or sit. Everybody is welcome here.
Before we even begin the blessing, let's close our eyes and focus on what this is about and why we're all together and why we have this beautiful Seder to begin with and why we're here, why we're making the blessing on the wine and grape juice.
Why are we doing it?
Yes, let's focus.
It's a good idea, but what is it about?
That's what we're thinking about, each of us. And then we'll go around and we'll all share. Each of us will share how we're feeling and why we came together. If anything is on our minds, anything is bothering us. Let's begin. Everyone close your eyes if you're comfortable and just focus on what's important. Take a few deep breaths. Jason.
All right, let's keep it moving here. We got a lot to get through, Gonna not get out of here till midnight.
But we're asked what's important, and the only thing that's important,
we'll keep it moving. We're never gonna get through it. That's important.
What's important to the hostages? I mean, we are sitting here with all this food around us, and we're not even taking notice of the fact that these people haven't even had sunlight for 6 months more, and we are sitting here in luxury, and we are singing songs, and we are, I don't know, just living life as if it's just normal, and it's not normal.
I'm sorry, but you always have to bring them up, and it makes me get so emotional.
Okay, well, thank you, Claire, sweetie. Thank you for that. But also, I think let's respect your Aunt Judith. James, let's move this along, honey.
Thank you, Beth.
Look, I think it's important that we recognize our privilege, right? Like, we are super privileged to be sitting at this table, having this nice, beautiful, huge meal that, Beth, thank you so much. You created for us. And
thank you for saying that, Tom.
I mean, and there are people who are without meals, and there are people who have been taken hostage for how many days now? I mean, it's been, sorry, there's the kids trying to
Over
sleep.
180.
And so let's honor them by being thankful for what we have and that we're all here as a family together. I mean, we may not all get along, but we're here, right? And we should be thankful for that and love each other. Yeah,
but the reason we don't get along is because of you.
Me?
Yeah.
How is that? What did I do?
Well, where's my father? He's the one who should be here.
Claire, that's not very respectful to James and me.
Oh, picking the wrong person.
It's your husband.
Just like you.
So,
to blame me
sorry,
for
sorry,
things
sorry,
happening to
Tom.
your husband.
That was directed at James. It was James who's the problem.
I just don't understand why. Like, I mean, we could say these things, but I mean, no one's helped. No one's helped if we take the time. No, I mean, like that's what tzedakah, that's what charity is for. That's why we help people beforehand. But like, I mean, we're here at the Seder. Nothing's gonna change for the hostages, regardless of what we do here at the Seder.
I told you, Brian, that he wouldn't respect it.
What are you talking about not respecting it?
Okay,
Like,
that everybody,
what-
that's
isn't it-
enough. Everybody,
Isn't
that's
it
enough.
better?
Brian,
Isn't it
quiet
better
yourself.
for us to be together and talk about the hostages
Brian,
and like
James,
have
can you
at
just
the
move people
Seder
along,
than
please?
forget
matters.
about
Let's
the
everybody
hostages
wash our
just because
hands. Come on.
we're
And
here,
Jason
we're
isn't
talking
doing
about them.
it.
Now we're
Jason,
done.
Jason, just
you,
It
you're
matters.
the one who's
You
always
do hear
saying
me.
nasty and you're not.
Every time.
All right, everybody, get up. We're gonna go wash our hands.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Right.
love
know
you,
what?
my friend.
Well done.
You guys are amazing. You're totally amazing. It was fantastic. I mean, I'm only stopping you because I'm really, I've been given a very beautiful and rigorous schedule and I want to stick to it. You were amazing. Now, I think the fact that we are a group of women, that we spent a lot of time kind of getting into the dynamics, which were extraordinarily rich. You guys really were fantastic. And I was kind of wondering, like, what was going to happen with our hostage stuff from our pre-planning meeting? What happened to that? But boy, Claire, you got that back there. And then we could really see how the sort of meta issue, which of course we care deeply about. In no way am I trying to make that less. It's a profound issue, and the yellow ribbon is a great idea. But how that got completely enmeshed with family dynamics, and with, and then like, what's the point of it anyway? That was terrific, Jason. Thank you. Like, what's the point of doing anything? We're just here at the Seder, and what does anything we do here affect, elsewhere? Is this like, prayer here affects people elsewhere? Like, what's the meaning of it all? And I think this role play could have gone on and gotten richer and deeper, and we could have done more of the Seder. It would have been fabulous. But I am exactly at 9:15, and I'm going to give it back. Thank you, everybody. I think and I loved I just loved the chaos at the end, and getting everybody to go wash, even if it's without a bracha, whatever, just go wash, do something. But I think, like, just anticipate this. Think about what are the sensitive points? What do you want to think about in advance? What tools do you want to use? Do you want to have a peppermill? Do you want to have a whatever it's an hourglass? Do you want to, have everybody take a walk, take 5 designated time? I mean, it can really be hard. And many of us have large seders with people. Beautiful job. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Michelle, and thank you to all of our very brave and creative and expressive actors for everything. I think I laughed and cried and went through a whole other slew of emotions during those last few minutes. So thank you. And we will have the benefit of having Dr. Michelle come back at the end to do a little more wrapping up for us. So thank you for everything you've taught us so far. I want to kind of give us a second to take a deep breath. That was really intense. And I want to kind of take us through what I'm calling a guided reflection, which is an opportunity for us to do some of that planning that Michelle just spoke about. And you're welcome to do that in whatever way feels right for you. 2 possible ways you might want to consider. One is to actually sit with a pen and paper and to jot some of the thoughts down. I'm going to bring up some questions for you and kind of take you through this reflection experience. So you're welcome to write if you'd like. If you'd rather kind of do this all in your mind, if you're in a place where it's safe to close your eyes, you can close your eyes and just listen and kind of let your thoughts go and see what comes up for you as I guide you. I am going to be showing slides, but I'll read everything on the slide. So if you choose to close your eyes, you won't miss out on anything. And I'll just tell you all the slides are going to be blue. So now you can close your eyes and enjoy if you'd like. So I want to kind of take us back to something that we spoke about last week at the Her Torah gathering, which was we spoke about the 4 children, and Rav Maya kind of took us through the 4 children and helped us think about how we might connect with the identities that they're given, or how we might not connect with the identities that they're given. But tonight I want to kind of flip things, and instead of thinking about ourselves as these 4 characters in the Haggadah, I want us to think about who these 4 characters might be as other people that we interact with at our Seder, or also beyond that, right? We're having this conversation focused on the Seder, but these tools and the thought processes that we're going through should hopefully carry to many, many other experiences beyond the Seder table. So I want to start. I'm going to share my screen so you can see my slides. Okay, we're going to go back to the beginning. Sorry, just a little preview. And we're going to think about these 4 different personalities at the Seder. So first, let's think about the Chacham. And I'm going to give them loose titles. So we'll call Chacham the wise one, loosely. And, sorry, one second. The Chacham is the person at your Seder table who approaches everything intellectually. This person may have read more than you, may have a greater sense of background and knowledge and grasp of the facts than you do. Perhaps this person is older than you, or perhaps this person is much younger and may not respect you as an intellectual equal. This person may speak to you in a slightly, or not so slightly, patronizing manner. And you may find that when you speak to this person, you feel inferior, and you may begin to doubt yourself. Now I'm gonna wed the 4 personalities with 4 questions. So for this first, for the Chacham, let's do the 4 questions. And question number 1 is, which Chacham or wise personality may you interact with during Pesach? Who may play this role in your life over the course of the next few weeks? Just allow any answers that come to you to rise up and to notice them. Who might be this person in your life? And the next question goes back to what Michelle was speaking about earlier, which is, what are you worried might happen when you interact with this Chacham, with this wise personality? What do you think might go on between you? Is there something that might be said that you're concerned about? Do you envision a certain interaction playing out? What worries you about this interaction? And we'll go to the third question. Also reflecting back on what Michelle taught us before. What pieces of your core identity might be invoked or disturbed by your interaction with the Chacham? Might you feel any sense of failure when the Chacham says their opinion? Is there going to be something that you wished you had taught or you wished you had conveyed that is upset when you hear the Chacham speak in the way that he or she does? And question number 4, what might be the best way to approach interactions with this person in your life? You can kind of think through the different ways that Michelle spoke about, the caucusing, the setting guidelines. How are you going to contain the conversation? And how might that work best with the Chacham? And as we're doing this, I just want to remind everybody that I'm kind of asking you essay questions, and I don't expect you to be able to answer all of these right now. This is the pre-Seder planning. This is the first stage, and we're just kind of allowing the information to start to come through our minds and to see how we're feeling as we go through. And you can always revisit these questions later on. Okay. Now we'll go to our second personality, the Rasha. Now, I labeled the Rasha the argumentative one since wicked and evil felt a little bit off, but I allow you to choose whatever definition is right for you. So the Rasha, the argumentative personality, is the person who loves to argue and make provocative statements. This person may interject a political comment into a moment of spirituality or benign discussion. This person might make comments that are intended to get a response out of you. Their jokes may be off color, their comments offensive, and they may not treat you with respect and kindness. And now let's consider the questions when we think about the personality of the Rasha. Which Rasha or argumentative personality may you interact with during Pesach? Who may play this role in your life over the course of the next few weeks? And question number 2, what are you worried might happen when you interact with this person? Are you worried that their comments will set you off in a way that you don't want to go? Are you worried that you won't know how to respond? Are you worried that you'll go back into that silence? And question number 3, what pieces of your core identity might be invoked or disturbed by this interaction with the Rasha? What parts of yourself are going to get activated? Are you going to feel that sense of failure? Is there going to feel like this bridge or this rift rather, is going to be too great to overcome? And question number 4, what might be the best way to approach interactions with this Rasha in your life? And again, I don't mean Rasha as in this person is bad, but just the way that you feel the interactions is somebody who feels like they have an argumentative element to their personality. And we're just kind of putting them within the boxes of these 4 characters in the Haggadah. Okay. And now let's think about the third personality, the Tam, the simple one. The Tam is the person at the table who struggles to see nuance. In their mindset, everything is an either or. There are no yes ands. They approach the topic that you feel most passionate about with a black and white lens and are not open to adding more color to their perspective. They are fixed in their mindset, irrespective of what ideas you put forth. They are not open to any shift or any mental expanse. Which Tam or simple personality may you interact with during Pesach? Who may play this role in your life over the course of the next few weeks? So do you know somebody who is like this? And when might you interact with them? Oops. Question number 2, what are you worried might happen when you interact with this person? Are you worried you'll feel frustrated? Are you worried you're going to try so hard and not be able to sway them? Are you worried you might feel defeated and not even try anymore? What are you worried about? Question number 3, what pieces of your core identity might be invoked or disturbed by this interaction? How is this Tom, this person who sees things in only 2 ways, black or white, if or that, no in-betweens, no gray space, no nuance? How will that invoke your core identity? And question number 4. Sorry, my computer froze. What might be the best way to approach interactions with this person in your life? How can you plan ahead for these interactions? What would be the best approach? And our fourth personality, the she'ena yodea lish'ol, the one who does not know how to ask. The she'ena yodea lish'ol is someone who is apathetic and uninterested in what tugs at your heart. You may share your concerns and thoughts in a passionate and persuasive way with this person, and only receive a response along the lines of, "It'll be okay," or "It is what it is." When you interact with this person, you long for validation and even perhaps a challenge from them, but you find yourself left without either. Which she'ena yodea lish'ol, or one who does not know how to ask, personality may you interact with during Pesach? Who may play this role in your life over the course of the next few weeks? Question number 2. What are you worried might happen when you interact with this person? When you meet this apathy, this disinterest, what emotions might arise for you? Question number 3. What pieces of your core identity might be invoked or disturbed by this interaction? When this person says it'll be okay, and that's all they offer, what does that do for you? And question number 4. What might be the best way to approach interactions with this person in your life? And before I transition to the next piece, I want to suggest, as Michelle mentioned before, that maybe there's a fifth person, a fifth personality. And this fifth personality is the person in your life who supports you and who is there for you and who you can speak freely with and who you don't have to have a long, complicated planning session before you speak to that person. And the fifth person is the person who brings you peace and comfort and is empathetic and listens and perhaps also sings along with you. And so I am very excited to now introduce into our night music. We have Ellie Flyer here tonight who is going to sing beautiful songs for us. She'll sing one now, then we'll have Michelle wrap up, and then she'll sing a final closing song. And it was really remarkable because I was just thinking of like, we need some music in this event. And I was randomly searching on YouTube and I found her music and I was like, oh, this is so beautiful. We need this at our event. And then she said yes. And I'm so thrilled that she's here. So you can see Ellie's full bio in the chat. But Ellie is a beautiful musician who is an inspiring performer, cantorial soloist, and song leader based in Nashville, Tennessee. And Ellie, I welcome you to sing for us now.
Thank you so much. So good to be with all of you in this, talking about these very important topics. I'm lucky in the work that I do, which is often revolves around music, and music is the great connector. No matter where you are, no matter where anyone is coming from, we can all come together and sing.
Hello,
And
it's Martha Landau. You can't help me, you help me.
And I'm going to invite you to sing, but please be sure to keep your mute on because unfortunately Zoom is not advanced enough, maybe one day where we can all sing together in the virtual space, but I can see your faces and I can see your singing, and that is going to bring us community together. This song is written by Rabbi Menachem Creditor. Olam Chesed Yibaneh. The idea that the world can only be built from love. Olam Chesed Yibaneh. Olam Chesed Yibaneh. I will build this world from love. You will build this world from love. And if we build this world from love, then God will build this world from love. I will build this world from love. I will build this world from love. You must build this world from love. And if we build this world from love, then God will build this world from love.
Thank you so much, Ellie. That was beautiful. Michelle, would you like to offer us some final words and bring it all back?
Mute myself. You know what I was thinking about was, could we do this a little differently? Can I invite people to write in the chat a few words about something that spoke to you you had this lovely time to relax during the music and with Dahlia's reflections. I'd love to see in the chat, and I would read some of them out. What you took away from this evening, from my teaching, from Dahlia's guided meditation, that you anticipate for your own Seder, which might have to do with how to handle difficult conversations, a difficult Seder in any level. And I think that you've touched on that many people have complicated family situations, may not be at the Seder they wish they were at, that there's tremendous pain in Israel and elsewhere in the world. And that I think that our wonderful actor who said, well, what difference does it make what we do at our Seder? That was obviously meant to be provocative, because what we do at our Seder, as Dahlia just led us through this meditation about what the suns mean to us, matters a great deal to who we are and what energy we feel ourselves, and then what we can then send out into the world and what actions that can inform. So I guess I want to say there's different parts of the Seder that kindle all kinds of memories for all of us. And it could be a melody, it could be a food, it could be a prayer, it could be a conversation that we remember from long ago. I mean, that's the really power of it, is layering on year and year, using the same frame and the words that echo back hundreds, thousands of years, and looking forward to the future. And there may be aspects of our Seder that are personally disappointing. There may be encounters with relatives that don't work out the way we hoped that they would. We may be deeply personally affected by what's happening in terms of the hostages, which came up very poignantly in our role plays, by people who are connected to folks suffering, who have lost people. And how do we go on? How do we use the wisdom of our tradition, both in terms of the Seder words and the overall principle of the Seder, which is for people to gather together and to talk, to speak. I mean, that is the literal meaning of the Seder. And I hope that this evening helps people prepare. That is my biggest message. Think about what might be happening. Better to over prepare than under prepare, and to set up guidelines that will be helpful to manage, whatever comes about. And my blessing to you all is that we should be a year of peace coming up, and that the Seder should usher in a time of individual, family, community, and world peace. So thank you for the opportunity to meet with you tonight.
Thank you so much, Dr. Michelle, for all of that and wisdom. And I think one thing that there were so many comments in the chat, I couldn't read all of them, but one that really popped out was that somebody wrote that now she feels that she's not the only one going through this. And I think what you did in your teaching and through the way that you guided the role play and through the role play actors is that you really highlight that we are all going through this in different ways. We've all been in these situations before, whether at Seder or somewhere else. And it's good that we can all work on this and think about this together as a work in progress. So thank you. And as you said in the end, may we have peace. We're going to have now a song, which is all about a prayer for peace. So Ellie, we're going to pass back to you.
This is Theme Shalom, which comes from our prayer book, A Prayer for Peace. This is the first Jewish song that I ever wrote. I was not a quote unquote Jewish musician then. I was just struck by a recent tragedy in the world, and I felt like my own words weren't enough, and I turned to our prayer book and landed on this prayer, and it brought a lot of comfort. And in this time when more than ever we need peace, I hope you'll sing with me on the chorus. Sim shalom, sim shalom, tova uvracha, sim shalom, sim shalom, sim shalom, tova uvracha, sim shalom. Some days it seems the hurt will never end. Some days we wonder what out there is next. It's not enough to fix, we have to mend. Sim shalom, please bring us peace. Sim shalom, sim shalom, tova uvracha, sim shalom, sim shalom, sim shalom, tova uvracha, sim shalom. Grant us mercy and the strength to love. Grant us forgiveness for all we have done wrong. We'll feel your light in kindness shine from up above. Sim shalom, please bring us peace. Sim shalom, please bring us peace. Please bring us peace. Tova uvracha, sim shalom, sim shalom, sim shalom, tova uvracha, sim shalom. one more time, like you really believe that peace will come.